The following is a conversation with the New York Times bestselling author Graham Hancock. He's the author of the book America Before: The Key to Earth's Lost Civilization. He's also spoken in several controversial TED events that have since gone viral over the internet. With his appearances on the Joe Rogan Experience and having sold over 7 million copies of his books internationally, he has become an internet sensation as an unconventional thinker. Today, he and I discuss some of those ideas that are said to be controversial, and together at the end of this interview, we come to a conclusion that I'm sure everyone will find fascinating. To see more interviews like this one, click the link below me now to subscribe to Meditation Magazine. What impact has Joe Rogan, being on Joe Rogan's podcast, had on your work? Could you maybe talk about maybe before and after, or what you would say to a question like that?
My appearances on the Joe Rogan Experience had an enormous impact on my readership. Mm-hmm. They opened my ideas up to a whole new audience of younger people who I might never have had access to otherwise. Joe is an incredibly intelligent, inventive person to talk to. He's very adaptable. He really brings out the best in his guests in lots and lots of ways. So I've found every conversation that I've had with Joe really enjoyable at a personal level, and I'm grateful to him for exposing my work to a much wider audience than it might otherwise have reached.
Yeah.
I think he plays a very important role in society in that respect, because he is by nature a person who thinks outside the box. Mm-hmm. He is bringing outside the box thinkers, giving them a forum that they would not otherwise have.
Yes, and
so kudos to Joe Rogan. He's doing something very special and very, very different, which really nobody else is doing on that scale.
Yes, and I agree 100%. He really does bring the best out of his guests, because he's aware of the fact that there's a lot of people who are sharing ideas that don't align really with the truth of reality. Like, there are certain questions that could be asked that maybe discredit what this person's saying, and someone like Joe himself can ask these questions at least. But he brings people such as yourself and Randall Carlson on the show. And he'll rigorously go through, and you guys have even had debates on that show. And
indeed so.
Yeah.
No, it's an excellent format for that. I must say I like the idea, which never materialized, of all presidential candidates being subjected to a 3-hour grilling on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or having somebody like you interview them. I think that would be interesting. If we could find some way to, because there's definitely a huge growing number of people who see the work that you are doing. They see the value in it. They're not taking your work and running with it as if it's like a foolish thing. They're being very analytical about it.
Yeah,
we're all going through this process of reading your books, looking at the footnotes. We're researching, seeing other people's opinions, and we're, in a lot of ways, many people are coming to the conclusion that you should be heard out, and that you should be recognized for the ideas that you are rising up. So
I'm very happy to hear that. And one of the most rewarding things for me is where I come across people who have taken a particular idea or chain of logic or reasoning that I put in a book 20 years ago, and have gone on to develop it in other ways themselves. So an idea is not a fixed and firm thing. It's something that can be constantly developed and extended. And I see many people doing that with work that perhaps I launched, or was one of a number of people who launched, but which needs to be taken further. And the younger generation is doing that in a very analytical and thorough, detailed way.
Yes. Well, with that being said,
it makes me feel I must have done something right.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. What an amazing life you have lived. I could only imagine just having gone through the journey that you've gone down. I mean, people call you an Indiana Jones, and I think that's just a beautiful way of describing the life that you have lived. So
Thank you.
I'm
I've
I'm
been I've been very very fortunate, and we mentioned love as one of the messages of psychedelics, but the other message is gratitude. We should be grateful to have been given the opportunity to be born in a human body and live on this gorgeous planet and have the opportunity to make choices.
Yes, Graham, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.